agenda is about geography. Geography is a rewarding subject. Actually, if you are putting some efforts, we will get marks. It's like, it's not completely like science and mathematics, but whatever, it's not like other analytical like areas like polity or any other areas. If you are putting some diagrams, if you are writing some value added points and points directly from the textbook rather than writing vague points, because geography is something related to something that is existing. Okay, it's about maybe about climate, maybe about environment, maybe about the landforms and all. So it is there, it's already there. It's not like there is very less scope for our analytical writing. It's like, it's not about something being asked like about mob lynching or arresting of journalists. Like in that kind of questions in GS2 and all, we can create points out of imagination. But geography is something has to be maximum written from textbook. For example, if you are being asked a question about plate tectonics, you cannot write anything. Okay, you have to draw the necessary diagrams about plate tectonics. Yeah, and maybe if they are asking something about pressure belt and wind system, it has to be like that. If they are asking about formation of cyclone, you have to write about the sea temperature, the kind of basic requirements for the cyclone formation and all. You cannot write anything, just like we can write in other subjects like maybe in polity and all. And in geography, there are two ways of asking questions. One type of question is a generalist kind of question. Just like I told about polity answers, we can create some kind of points in such questions. There are two ways of questions. One is the exact science related questions, just like plate tectonics or geomorphology or mountain building. In that you cannot write anything you think, but you have to write the exact facts. But there are other set of questions. Maybe they will be talking about urbanization, they may be talking about the monsoon and floods, its relation and all. So what can be the impacts of an excessive rainfall in the socio-economic situation of India? You can create points. Maybe what are the impacts of excessive monsoon on agriculture? You can imagine and write points. So today we will be discussing about, and we will be writing some answers about the generalist type of questions from geography. Every year at least 3 to 4 questions they ask, in which we can write our own points with our imagination and with our common sense and basic understanding. The next set of questions, which I told that we should have the command over syllabus and the exact textbook knowledge, that kind of question like plate tectonics, climatology and all, we will deal in the upcoming days. And in this week, in the 4 days of answer writing, maximum time we will be discussing about the different kind of questions and answer writing styles of geography. So first of all, we will decode the syllabus. See, these are the syllabus. Actually, I will be devoting very less time for syllabus decoding and all, because you have the syllabus and all. What we require is just a basic understanding about the syllabus. If you read, this is the line that is given in the UPSC notification. Distribution of key natural resources across the world, including South Asia and Indian subcontinent. Factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector industries in various parts of the world, including India. This is simple, though it's look complicated. What they are asking, first one, distribution of key natural resources like across so and so places, say South Asia and Indian subcontinent, whatever. What are the natural resources? Maybe fossil fuels. Fossil fuels include what? Coal, oil and gas, etc. Why they are asking for like us to study these things? Because this determines the relation between India and some other countries. If we are not having sufficient economically exploitable amounts of coal and oil and gas, we may need to import that from some other countries. So which are those countries? Maybe United States, Russia, China, Australia and South Africa. Along with that, India is also having this thing, because India is also part of South Asia. They are asking about the distribution of these resources in South Asia. Apart from India, these are the other areas. Like, though these countries are not in South Asia, but why are we mentioning this thing? Because India may be importing these kind of things from these countries. Then oil and gas. Which are the areas which are having significant amount of oil and gas? Maybe Middle East countries, then Venezuela, Russia, Canada, United States, etc. So they are asking about the distribution of key natural resources. We need not study much deep into this, but just have a fair understanding from which all areas India might be importing these things, and which are the countries which are having leading reserves and leading production in these kind of natural resources. Then apart from fossil fuels, which are the other natural resources? Maybe minerals. Minerals are required for industries and for any sector. Iron ore, copper, bauxite, gold, and these are found in which all countries? We should have a fair understanding of this, just a common sense based understanding, nothing deep. Then about other resources, agricultural resources, maybe wheat, rice, soybean, coffee, tea, and other agricultural resources, which are the parts of the world which is having dominance in these kind of resources, because that will determine the relation of India with those countries. Okay. For example, if India is importing maybe soybean maybe from some South American country, and we are completely depending on that particular South American country for soybean oil and all, we may not be doing something which is antagonizing them. Okay, like even in United Nations, something comes to a vote, and if that particular country is being prosecuted, India may not be voting against that country, because India is having a dependency in this thing. Okay, so these agricultural kind of dependencies or natural resource based dependencies can have geopolitical implication between the relationship of the countries. So that's why UPSC or the Indian government wanted a UPSC aspirant to have a fair knowledge about the distribution of resources and the kind of economic relation that India which is having with those countries. Then, so this is the first part of this thing, distribution of key natural resources across the world, so and so. Then factors responsible for the location of primary, secondary and tertiary sector. For example, normally in UPSC they ask questions like, what are the factors which are responsible for the dominance of sugarcane industry in North Indian belt, for example. Okay, so this is the primary sector. Then tertiary sector, why the western parts of the country dominate in maybe banking or other economic industries, maybe tourism sector kind of thing. So that's about tertiary sector. So what can be the factors which are leading to that dominance of those particular sectors in some parts of the country only? Then maybe primary sector industries, why a company is setting up a primary sector related industry in one particular part of the country, maybe availability of raw material. What are the primary sectors? Mining, forestry, agriculture kind of thing. And if these resources are available in one particular state, there is a natural tendency for that particular industry to be there in that particular state. If Uttar Pradesh is having sufficient amount of sugar cane, it is natural that sugar cane industry or sugar processing industry will be setting up in that particular area. Then physical factors like availability of raw materials, then climate, because if it is in agriculture, we need like conducive climate for that particular crop to be grown. Then landform, soil kind of thing. So these are the physical factors and the other reasons for setting up of primary industry. Then about secondary industries, similar reason, market proximity. One company is producing one particular product, there should be a market very near to that, so that transportation cost can be minimized. Then about infrastructure, okay, they need roads, ports and all. If they are creating one particular product, it need to be transported to the market and it need to be exported kind of thing. So it should be like having accessibility to ports, railways and other kind of infrastructures. Then skilled labor, especially in secondary and tertiary sector, skill of the labor is particularly important. So that may be also a factor. Then tertiary sector industries. What are the tertiary sector industries? Banking, tourism, healthcare, education kind of thing. These are often concentrated in areas with high population density and economic activity, because this population is the market for these particular industries. Okay. So why I am narrating these things is that in these kind of questions where they directly ask from the syllabus about distribution of one particular natural resource or about the location of one particular industry in one particular area, we may not be studying about each of the crops or each of the industries. Like we may not be studying about the reasons for the occurrence of wheat processing industry or sugarcane processing industry. We may not be studying individually, but we will be having some general points. From that we can write on our own. Okay, maybe market, infrastructure, skilled labor. These things can be written with any kind of industry or any kind of sector. The reason for its establishment in that particular area. Then I will give you the slides. Okay, after that also you can refer. Yeah, then again accessibility for tertiary industries. Okay, there requires good connectivity to ensure accessibility to customers and clients. Then about government policies, that government should be giving incentives like tax benefits, and they will be having very employer friendly labor laws and all. So these things will be the factors which will be favoring the location of one particular industry in one particular area. Yeah, then second line of the syllabus, important geophysical phenomena such as earthquakes, tsunami, volcanic activity, cyclones, etc. Geographical features of this particular area and their location. Why earthquakes happens in one particular area? Why tsunami happens? Why volcanic activity is there in one particular area? Then change. This is one point. Another point: changes in the critical geographical features and their impact. For example, if water bodies are shrinking, if glaciers are melting, if sea level is rising. See, these are the changes in the geographic features and its impact in the flora and fauna and the effect of such changes. So what happens, how it will be affecting humanity. So these are very commonsensical things. Just one, two things we should remember, we should know the reason for earthquake formation, tsunami, volcanic activity. These are 2-3 lines facts. Apart from that, we can create answer on our own. Okay. Then salient features of world's physical geography. This is the area. Only these two areas, geomorphology and climatology. Even oceanography is doable. For a person who is writing or preparing for GS1 geography, I am telling that only geomorphology and climatology is the area which require, and some parts of oceanography which requires much command to write an answer, much command of the subject. Remaining things we can write on our own, maybe environmental geography, biogeography kind of thing. It is having a huge overlap with the environmental part of the GS. So we should be able to write better answers in geomorphology and climatology, because this is where the competition lies. All other areas anybody can write an answer, but creating diagrams and writing exact facts which is mentioned in the textbook, whatever textbook you are referring, that particular crisp knowledge is required in geomorphology and climatology, because you need to draw diagrams, you need to draw the exact order of things as it is. So apart from this thing, remaining areas are doable. We'll study how to study geomorphology and climatology. Then geomorphology and climatology, for example, we have done multiple rounds of revision for prelims. Okay, and the people who were in my class at least are very confident about climatology. I am very sure that we have seen how each and everything happens. So about the plate tectonics kind of thing, we haven't discussed it in much detail because that was not relevant for prelims. Okay, climatology was more important than this kind of plate tectonics kind of thing in prelims. Then mountain building, volcanoes, earthquakes, weathering and erosion, rocks, landforms, etc. So these are actually just one time read-worthy areas. We should have just a one-time reading of these particular areas and we will be done, because we won't be forgetting about these things once it is done, because we have already done this in the schools and all. Then after that, as a part of civil service preparation also, we have seen it multiple times, and now we require at least for writing an answer 1-2 round of revision and a particular structuring of the answer for preparing geomorphology. Then about climatology, we have seen about atmosphere, temperature distribution, jet stream, pressure and wind system, air masses, trends, cyclones, whatever. So even now, if you want to study this area, whether it is geomorphology or climatology, which I told that you require particular command over the syllabus to write an answer, really maximum on YouTube videos, okay, where you will be having very good quality animated videos about each and everything, okay, whether it is jet streams or whether it is about plate tectonics and all. Don't rely just on static printed versions of textbooks and all, because for these things to enter our head, we need sufficient explanation in an animated form. For each of the syllabus, each part of the syllabus of climatology, oceanography and geomorphology, there are very high quality videos which are very self-explanatory, that you need not have the assistance of even a teacher to study all these things nowadays, because that much stuff is there in YouTube for this thing. By having a video assistance and a note written by your hand based on that particular video, you can easily write any questions which are asked from these topics. Then oceanography, about ocean relief, temperature distribution, ocean currents, salinity, coral bleaching. Actually, though the topics are static, now they are relating this thing to the climate change and all. What is the impact of climate change on sea level rise and about the movement of ocean currents, about the salinity, the impact of climate change on coral reefs, and also nowadays they are connecting everything to the climate change in oceanography. Then this is the area which is having overlap with the environment part of the syllabus. Soil profile, forest degradation and conservation, biotic region, deforestation, conservation of forest, changes in critical geographic features, environmental pollution and all. So this thing you can have like a preparation which is clubbing environment and geography together. So that's about syllabus. That's all about syllabus. So as I told, we study geomorphology, oceanography and climatology from YouTube. Okay. Even though you are yet to read the NCERTs, okay, keep the NCERTs aside for now. Just really maximum on YouTube. And when you are seeing a YouTube video, like when we should when we will be realizing like how many times we should watch a particular video. Maybe the videos are very like having short lengths, like maybe 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 18 minutes and all. But how many times we should watch it? We should watch it that many number of times till we are confident that we should be able to explain this to someone else. Okay. If somebody is asking you about jet streams, you should be able to tell him or her that, okay, this is how jet stream occur, and jet streams occur in northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere in this part of the pressure belt, above this part of the pressure belt, and this is the reason, and these are the impacts of jet stream in the areas under which, above which it flows. So these kind of things, if you are able to explain to somebody else, maybe your roommate or your classmate, then that many number of times you have to watch that particular video, because that though it takes some time, okay, till it enter your head, but it is worth, because once it enters your head, it won't leave. So we'll see the kind of general questions that I told, just like the plate tectonics kind of thing which requires command over the syllabus, we'll see in the upcoming days. But now we'll see what are the general kind of questions they are asking. First one, examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on climate change. See, if we are doing something against the forest, just like deforestation kind of thing, what impact it is having on climate change. And there in the first part they are asking about what is the status of forest resource of India. This question is directly to be answered from the India State of Forest report. Okay, everything you should be writing about the like amount of tree cover and forest cover in India, about the mangrove forest in India, about the bamboos in India, kind of thing. So these kind of things are clearly mentioned in the India State of Forest Survey report. Like it's a biennial thing. In 2019 one report came and last came in 2021 I guess. So in that thing everything is written in like with much clarity. The amount of carbon stocks in the forest kind of thing, then about the bamboo, about the increase or decrease of mangroves and all. So we should have sufficient command over the India State of Forest report, but we need not read the entire report, just have knowledge about 5-6 things. Which are the states which is having the increasing and decreasing order of the forest cover of like particular states, the amount or the increase or decrease of mangroves, the increase or decrease of bamboos, about the corals kind of thing. These are mentioned in the India State of Forest Survey report. You should have a fair understanding of that thing. Then see the kind of questions they are asking. They are asking about melting of Himalayan glaciers and its impact on the water resource. We can write many things about that. Like many of the Indian rivers are being fed by Himalayan glacier, and if Himalayan glacier is melting, what will happen to the rivers of India, what will happen to the drinking water availability, what will happen to the sea level rise kind of thing. We can write down our own by imagining. Then about interlinking of rivers they are asking. Okay, it is having multi-dimensional like interrelated okay, interlinking of rivers can provide viable solutions to the multi-dimensional problems. Okay, they can address flood, drought and interrupted navigation kind of thing. They are asking something about that. So we can imagine, like if you are connecting a river with sufficient amount of water, and if you are connecting through some canals and all to a river which is having least amount of water, so what all can be the advantages and disadvantages? Maybe related to cost, related to the submergence of forests, related to the environmental problems, we can write down our own. Then about desertification they are asking, and they are connecting desertification and climate change. Then impact of global warming and on the coral reef ecosystem, then about ocean currents and their impacts on marine life, then about depletion of mangroves, and they are asking about how mangroves are important in coastal ecology. They are asking about mountain ecosystem and its requirement of conserving the mountain ecosystem. Okay, how can the mountain ecosystem be restored from the negative impact of development initiatives and tourism? We know that in hilly areas and Himalayan states like Uttarakhand and all, we are having excessive urbanization and we are mining out mountains and we are constructing resorts and tourist infrastructures. So what are its negative impacts? So these kind of physical geography questions can be answered with a general understanding of things. Okay, need not require sufficient knowledge or command over the syllabus for that. So first of all, we will write one question. Start writing this question. Examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on climate change. First write this question, then I will tell how to brainstorm this thing. Examine the status of forest resources of India and its resultant impact on climate change. So how to attempt this question? First of all, you just write a general introduction. You maybe write about the percentage of forest cover of India. Okay, compared to the total area of India, we are having this much percentage of forest. Okay, that you can write. Then they are asking about the status of forest resources of India. So you should be writing about. See, if you are not having command over India State of Forest Report, you need not write the exact data. But you can write about the kind of forest related resources of India. You can mention about mangroves, you can mention about the total forest and tree cover of India, you can write about the bamboo kind of thing. So what all things which are mentioned in the India State of Forest Report, write something about that. If you are not knowing the exact value or percentage of that thing, write something about that. You then write, okay, if you are writing about mangroves, you just write whether it is increasing or decreasing. And they are connecting the status of forest resources and the impact of climate change. So even if you are not knowing the exact percentage of mangrove forest in India, just write about mangroves and connect its to the ecological importance of mangroves. You write about how mangroves are protecting the coastal ecosystem and how mangroves can also sequester carbon dioxide and all. Then write about bamboo. Okay, bamboo can be sufficiently or suitably planted even in urban areas, so it can be an important species of plant which could be used for urban forestry kind of thing. And if there is a particular industrial area and surrounding that thing we are creating bamboos or normal trees, how that can absorb the excessive pollution or like greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide from that particular area and create a fresh ecosystem or maintain the ecological balance of that particular area. Write a generalist answer. If you are not having that particular knowledge of that particular thing, then data about that particular point that you are writing, then what you can write after that. So you are mentioning that this is the status of forest resources in India. You are writing about the tree and forest cover, then about mangroves and all. So this is the status, present status. Then you are with every point you are connecting that to the impact on climate change. See, if India is having this many amount of tree and forest cover, how can it be associated with the climate related commitments of India? Okay, India want to remove so many billion tons of, maybe 2.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere by 2030. So if we are having sufficient increase in the forest and tree cover, whether it will be helping India to achieve that sustainable development target or not. So you can write about that thing. So whatever point you are writing, connect with its impact to the climate change. Then you can write about government's commitment, like what all steps have government taken to address the problems associated with forest. Like if government is having some schemes for afforestation, some schemes like Green India Mission kind of thing, what all things associated with tree and forest cover, you can write about that. You can mention about bond challenge. Okay, bond challenge is something related to afforestation in degraded land. So that thing you can mention and you can sufficiently or suitably conclude. So you can just brainstorm in mind for a while. We'll start writing now. Just write a generalist answer if you don't know the exact data. because even in the toppers answers you cannot find the exact percentage of mangroves or forest or tree cover, but you should have some fair understanding about things like what is the percentage of forest cover in India. Maybe India is having close to 25% of the geographical area covered with forest, but India is having a target of about, what is the percentage of target? 33%. India is aspiring to get 33% of the total land area of India to be covered by forest by 2030, if I am not wrong. So that kind of thing will feature in the introduction. So remaining that thing you can manage by a generalist answer. So this question is very important. Questions just just see the answer. Like whenever you have a particular report or data associated with a particular question, introduce with that thing. Here we have India State of Forest Report 2019 and 2021. Actually, we have latest report 2021. So we have to quote that thing. This is an outdated data. Then India is having around 80 million hectares of forest, which is around 25%, close to 25% of the total geographical area of the India. So we will be writing about, they have asked about the status of forest in India. So we will be writing something related to that. The forest cover of India increased by around 0.5%, just 4.5% since 2017, just 0.5% increase, one data. Then, but our target is to bring this to 33%. Currently, we are having 24.5%, but since 2017, just 0.5% has increased. I mean, it was around 24%. Now it has become 24.5%. I mean, close to 25%. But if in 7 to 8 years, if it has just increased by 0.5% only, then how many years will it take for this 24% to reach the 33%? So this is the issue. Then about the status of forest in India, I mean status of forest resources in India, we will be writing the things that we know about the forest and the Indian geography. First of all, we will be writing about the top 5 states in terms of the largest forest area. Okay, Madhya Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, that order. Then forest and tree cover in India has increased by around so and so square kilometer. We need not remember the square kilometer, but remember the percentage. Okay, just around 0.5% increase since the 2019 report. Then about the mangrove cover in India, we are having close to 5,000 square kilometer, but you need not remember the square kilometer thing, just remember the increase. Since the 2019 assessment, it has increased by around 0.3%. Even if you are not remembering the 0.3%, just know that it is on an increasing trend. Now we will be connecting the mangrove ecosystem to the climate change. We'll say that, okay, it is providing many ecological services, but it is threatened by climate change. So if we are conserving it, it will be absorbing the carbon dioxide and it will be protecting the biodiversity of that particular ecosystem. Then about bamboos, okay, why we are talking about forest and tree cover, mangroves and bamboos? Because this is the thing that is mentioned in the India State of Forest Report. Then bamboo, around 16 million hectare expanse is there at present, but it is on a decreasing trend. As per from the 2019 report, when we reach 2021, around 11,000 square kilometer of bamboo has decreased. So it is on a decreasing trend. So we will be now connecting bamboo to the ecosystem or climate change related services. First of all, we can suitably use bamboos for afforestation or reforestation purposes. It is a good carbon store. It's a highly effective carbon sink because that much it is having huge carbon absorption potential. So we can write about that thing. So it is useful in urbanization or like when we are creating a city, create an urban forestry in the periphery of that particular city or in the heart of that particular city. In that we can use bamboos. Then as a part of cropland or agroforestry, we can use plant bamboos. It will be an economically income earning for that particular farmer, and it will be helping in addressing the climate change as well. Then about total carbon stock, okay, how much million tons of or how much billion tons of carbon dioxide is absorbed in the forest by the trees. So in that account also we are having an increase of 80 million tons because 0.5% of the total forest cover increase is there from 2019 report to 2021 report. That 0.5% increase in forest cover has led to an increase of 80 million tons of carbon dioxide absorption. So this data that is directly taken from India State of Forest Report, which can be authentically quoted in the answer. Then the status of forest resources in India has a significant impact on the climate change. Okay, deforestation, urbanization, agricultural expansion are threat to the forest ecosystem, which will be depleting or which will be causing a negative impact on the climate change. Then forests absorb carbon dioxide and store carbon. You see, these are very general points. If you are, even if you are not having command over data, you can just think and write these kind of general statements. Like when you are writing such statements, you will feel like, okay, these are very childish. Like everybody knows that forests absorb carbon dioxide and store carbon. You see the topper's paper. Like at the end of the mains preparation, after having covering all the syllabus of GS 1, 2, 3 and 4, people will tend to remember many of the things, solid things they have studied. Okay, they may not be remembering about the data, they may not be remembering about the exact government schemes and all. So we will be writing very general answers. Okay, we'll feel like, okay, anybody could write such an answer. That kind of answer will be there in the topper's paper as well. So don't hesitate to write simple points, because this will be the lifesaver at the end. Okay, forest will be absorbing carbon dioxide and it will store carbon. Then India's conservation effort and sustainable forest management can mitigate the climate change. We will be writing about India's efforts related to that in the upcoming slide. Then conservation efforts can, because we are connecting the afforestation and climate change. Forest conservation helps in sequestering carbon and it will be having core benefits like water and soil conservation. Then it will be helping in the regulation of water cycle and protection against natural disasters, because in the slopy areas and hilly areas, if you are having sufficient amount of forest cover, it will be preventing the landslides kind of thing, and it will be preventing the soil erosion kind of thing. So try to write maximum general points quickly. Okay, this will help in reducing the time for answer writing, because when you are always thinking about high-fi points, you will be having that writer's block. Don't hesitate to write simple points, because simple points will make us move like between line to line. Okay, otherwise we will be always thinking about very good points. Like nobody is writing good points. If you are trying to write simple points day by day, it will normally become a very valid point at the end, because that will improve the writing skill and you could easily integrate the things that you read into the answers at a later point of time. But when you are at the very beginning stage of answer writing, try writing these kind of points without any hesitation. Then about India's forest conservation commitments. Okay, India is committed to achieve a forest cover of 33% of the total land area under the National Forest Policy. These are the value addition. Then the country, by aiming a 33% forest cover, we are planning to have a additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons of carbon dioxide by 2030. Then we have already signed bond challenge. Bond challenge means planting the degraded land with trees. So worldwide the target is 350 million hectares of degraded land should be afforested, and India's target in bond challenge is around 26 million hectares of degraded land to be planted with the trees. Then we are having Green India Mission and National Afforestation Program. For what? To promote afforestation and forest conservation. Then India is actively participating in the RED Plus program. Okay, RED Plus program we know, reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. So as a part of this program, we will be planting more trees. So it will be helping in mitigating climate change and protecting the forest. So these kind of points. Okay, the country has established protected areas. So how many have written this point? Like related to the commitment of India, how many people have written about national parks, wildlife sanctuaries kind of thing? Has anybody written that thing? No, because we are not thinking simply. We are always trying to integrate very big points. So you just see, like it is also part of the forest conservation and afforestation program. Okay, if you are conserving a protected area like national park or wildlife sanctuary, we are indeed protecting the forest. Okay, so that points also you can write. Now, see, actually, this is the kind of question from physical geography. As I told, we can write layman answers. So most of the points are like this. Okay, melting of Himalayan glaciers, interlinking of rivers, desertification and climate change. We can think on our own and create points. So this is a representative question of that thing, physical geography. Now we will take one question from Indian geography. Okay, Indian geography, you just see the kind of questions they are asking. They are asking about flooding in cities of India. Though the question is like vaguely worded, like account for the huge flooding of million cities in India. Million cities means cities which are having population of more than 1 million. Okay, including the smart cities like Hyderabad and Pune. They are asking about why these kind of cities are having huge flooding. So city and flooding, there is a technical term for that. What is that? Urban flooding. Okay, so they are indeed asking about urban flooding. What are the causes of urban flooding and what are the remedial measures? Simple. But a person who is reading this question just unnecessarily will have a panic by seeing, okay, they are talking something about million cities, then smart cities like Hyderabad and Pune. Just they are asking about urban flooding. Why urban flooding is happening in our cities and suggest remedial measures. So just write an answer. Start writing. Causes of urban flooding and what are the remedial measures. Just write a generalist answer. Yeah, you can write the question. Yeah, first question. You see, once again, you see the kind of repetition in geography question. Here in 2020, they have asked about an urban flooding. Even in 2021 and even in 2022, there were questions related to that. You see, another question in 2016. Major cities of India are becoming vulnerable to flood-like condition. Again, then they are asking another question related to air pollution. This is about flooding. Similarly, in 2015, they have asked about Mumbai, Delhi and Kolkata are the mega cities are having serious pollution problem. Okay, like Delhi. What are the reasons? So, they will be just mentioning about city names. But your answer need not have any connection with the city. You can either mention some city specific problem or you can even write a generalist answer. Just about urban flooding or city related pollution kind of thing. Generally, you can write. So, write an answer about, what I'm asking is we should stop writing answer in maybe 4 minutes. So you need not write a complete answer, just create a heading. Okay, causes of urban flooding, then write the points. Okay, one by one, write the just write the bullet point. That explanation you need not write. That you can write on your own anytime. Just create the bullet points. Then after that, write remedial measures and write the bullet points. Start writing. Okay, stop writing. കുറച്ച് പോയിന്റ്സ് പറഞ്ഞാൽ മതി. ലൈക്ക് നമുക്ക് ഫുൾ ആൻസർ ഒക്കെ ഇത് ചെയ്യാം. ആദ്യം നമുക്ക് വേണ്ടത് കുറച്ച് ബുള്ളറ്റ് പോയിന്റ്സ് ജനറേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു കമാൻഡിങ് പവർ ആണ്. കുറച്ച് പോയിന്റ്സ് പറയോ എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്? വാട്ട് ആർ ദ കോസസ് ഓഫ് അർബൻ ഫ്ലഡിങ്? ഓക്കെ, എൻക്രോച്ച്മെന്റ്സ് ഓഫ് വെറ്റ്ലാൻഡ്സ്. പിന്നെ ഓക്കെ, സ്റ്റോം വാട്ടർ ഡ്രെയിനേജ് ഒക്കെ ക്ലോഗ് ചെയ്യുന്നു നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുന്ന പ്ലാസ്റ്റിക്സ് പോലുള്ള സാധനങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഇട്ടിട്ട്. പിന്നെ ഓക്കെ, എൻക്രോച്ച്മെന്റ് ടു ദ നാച്ചുറൽ വുഡ്ലാൻഡ്സ് ആൻഡ് ഓൾ. ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ, ക്ലൈമറ്റ് ചേഞ്ചിന്റെ ഭാഗമായിട്ട് മേ ബി എക്സസീവ് റെയിൻഫോൾ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും. ഫൈൻ. ഹരി എഴുതിയ റെമഡിയൽ മെഷേഴ്സ് എന്തെങ്കിലും ഉണ്ടോ? തടയാൻ എങ്ങനെ ഇത് ചെയ്യാം? Okay, interlinking of water bodies, because if one particular river floods, that excessive water can be taken to some other part. Then water storage facility, rainwater harvesting facility can be done. Okay, and in many cities, I'll show you, in many cities actually integrated with the building plan. Okay, ഒരു particular building ine panchayathu no municipality no permit kittanamenങ്കിൽ it should have a proper rainwater harvesting structure integrated or inbuilt to that particular thing. പിന്നെ വേറെന്താ ഹേമന്തിന് എന്താ പറയാൻ പറ്റുന്നത്? ഓക്കെ, drainage efficiency should be increased. Yeah, plastic pollution, that's what I told, because these plastics are clogging the drains. That's why Chennai, in areas like Chennai, these floods are happening every year. Then fine, point undo Rohike. Okay, Indus Valley civilization പോലുള്ള drainage system. Okay, India is having a huge heritage in that way. Okay, yeah, manhole cleaning, that is very important. Desilting and maintenance of drainage systems and canals. Okay, desilting, ഇതിൽ silt accumulate ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഇത് പെട്ടെന്ന് തന്നെ നിറഞ്ഞു കവിയും. So desilting and regular repair and maintenance of the drainage system. പിന്നെ വേറെ പോയിന്റ് ഉണ്ടോ? ജെറീനൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടോ പോയിന്റ്സ്? പറഞ്ഞു, പോയിന്റ്സ് പറഞ്ഞു. Mandesh, you have any point related to the cause? Urban heating, how you are connecting that with this thing? Flood. Okay, fine. Then so what you are telling is actually urban heating is like causing convectional rainfall. Okay, in that particular area clouds are forming and getting rain. Then yeah, fine. So the thing is that many of the causes that you have told and the many of the remedial measures that you have told, these are very layman points that you have written. That is very well and good, well appreciated, because without having any writer's block, you have written some points that came to your mind directly. Now I'll show you how in that particular question that could be written in a way that you get better marks. Okay. One way of approach is just writing about the causes of urban flood and the remedial measures and the steps taken by government or National Disaster Management Authority to prevent the urban flood. This is one way. The next thing is that you can write about city specific examples. Okay, if you are just study 3 cities, they won't be asking you specifically about one particular city. Even this question, they are not asking about Hyderabad and Pune. They are telling that account for huge flooding of million cities in India, including the smart cities like Hyderabad, Pune. I mean, they are in general asking about the like metropolitan cities of India. They are not asking you to write about Hyderabad and Pune. They are telling that, okay, including them, this is happening. What is the reason? So, if you have a like 2 to 3 cities in your note and the kind of description about the geographical feature of that particular city, and if you can connect that geographical feature of that particular city with the urban flooding, you can write it every time. Okay, because every year there are questions about urban flooding. Just have 3 cities in your note, you can write it every year. I mean, anytime you can write. For example, Mumbai, you can, like, how we will be connecting Mumbai to the, like, to make it a geography answer, you should write that Mumbai is a coastal city and it is prone to flooding during monsoon season. The combination of heavy rainfall, high tides, okay, it's a coastal city, high tides and insufficient drainage. This is causing flooding in Mumbai. Then about Hyderabad, again, you are making it as a geography answer, because a geography question should be written in a geographical, using geographical terms. So Hyderabad, it is having an undulating terrain and a series of lakes and water bodies. It is having huge number of lakes and water bodies, and when a huge monsoon or excessive monsoon is happening, all these lakes and water bodies will flood. Then water accumulation during intense rainfall due to the low-lying topography. Actually, Hyderabad in general, it's a low-lying area. So if heavy rain is happening, that particular low-lying area will be filled. It is like a depression city. So it will be having water accumulated in that particular city. Combine that with reduction in natural drainage capacity, because we have already filled up the water bodies, maybe wetlands or lakes or other water bodies, we have already filled. These were the natural sponges which could absorb the excessive water. So like naturally it is a low-lying area, so that depression will be filled by excessive rain, plus it is having a series of lakes and water bodies that will flood, because every year it will be having huge silt accumulation in that particular water body, and if that silt accumulation will reduce the depth of that particular water body and it will flood. Plus we are encroaching that water body, so natural recharge of the groundwater is not happening. So unscientific urbanization. Then about Pune, this having this in the confluence of several rivers, Mula and Mutta rivers. So these rivers will flood during excessive monsoon. Apart from that, the city's topography, it is having a hilly terrain and narrow valley. Pune is like that. Okay, it is having a hilly terrain and narrow valley. So from the upstream area, from the hilly area, huge water will come during the monsoon season and it will flood in the narrow valley in which the Pune is located. Then flooding during heavy rainfall. Apart from that, in every point you can write about encroachment of floodplains and natural water channels. Apart from that, climate change and extreme weather events. Just like he told, due to urban heat island and all, convectional rainfall is happening and it will be flooding that particular area. So just have at least 3 cities in your note. Write the same point in every urban flooding question. Okay. So this is about creating template answers. Then remedial measures. So you have told me about many remedial measures like proper maintenance of this particular drainage system, improving the capacity of drainage system, and what was the other thing told? Remedial measure? Where are the point? Remedial measure? This is 2 points. Where are point? Jerry point. Mandesh, you have any point for remedial measures other than the repair and maintenance of drainage or reducing urbanization kind of thing? Other than that, plant what infrastructure? Okay, you are talking about urban forestry kind of thing. Okay, then okay, Okay, you want to plan infrastructure. Okay, I have heard planned. Okay, fine. So these are general points. Now how to make the answer better? First of all, general thing like improve drainage infrastructure. In that you have to write constructing new drains. Like you can write about the kind of drains. Okay, underground pipes, culverts. Culverts means small canals and all. Then open channels to carry storm water, I mean rainwater away from the urban areas. Okay, you can take this water to the coastal areas through the underground channels and all. Then desilting and cleaning the drains. Okay, due to silt accumulation, the depth of that particular dam or canal or river will be reduced. So desilt and clean it. Then create or construct underground stormwater storage tanks. If you are having your home in the courtyard area, if you are having an underground, just like our natural well, okay, just like a well, if you are having just like a compost pit and all, if you are having rainwater storage tanks, you can use that water for gardening or like toilet purposes and all. So that thing you can write. Then that's about drainage infrastructure. Then about green infrastructure. These are the points that are lacking in your answer. What are the green infrastructure? You can have rain gardens. Okay, rain gardens means for near the periphery of the city and even in the heart of the city, you are creating a miniature forest, and these particular trees will be absorbing in its roots and in its soil all the excessive water. So the gardens or the areas we are creating for that is rain garden. Then we can have permeable pavements. Pavements means what? Just like our road. Okay, we are creating road using our tar, concrete, bitumen and all. When rainwater is flowing like on top of that, it is not getting absorbed to the ground. It is just moving to the surface. So instead of that thing, we can have permeable pavements. When water is moving through that particular pavement, instead of overflowing, it will be absorbed by that pavement to recharge the groundwater or the aquifer in the under the ground. So it's about permeable pavement. Then we can have green roofs. Above the surface of the roof, we can have particularly arranged green roof. That water should not be damaging that particular building, but it will be like we are creating swimming pool on the rooftop. Okay, but that swimming pool is not damaging or not creating any leak on that particular building because it is having sufficiently constructed to address any leakages and all. Similarly, we can have green roofs. It will be retaining the rainfall. It will be having, in that green roof, we will be having small grasses like plants, so that will be absorbing the water, and it will be providing that cool atmosphere within that particular building. We need not spend money on AC and all because that particular roots absorb that many kind of water from the rainwater, like storm water, and it will be cooling that particular building, and it will not be flooding that particular courtyard. So that can be done even in public buildings. You can do that, and it will be improving the air quality as well, because just imagine if all the public buildings in the city is having this greenery on the surface by having small shrubs and grasses planted on the surface. So it will be improving the air quality, and it will be addressing the excessive rainwater that is being flowing over the ground. Then we can create urban wetlands. Urban wetlands are natural sponges which will be absorbing the water. Then we can have green streets and open spaces. So plant all the city streets with vegetation. It will be absorbing the water. Then we can have urban farms and gardens. Okay, what are urban farms and gardens? In that there will be facility for rainwater harvesting. There will be green space and biodiversity. We can have community engagement and social cohesion. For example, in a particular residential area, maybe some 3 to 4 flats are there. We are having a common area. Just like a community pond, we can have a particular rainwater harvesting infrastructure, and all the inhabitants of that particular community can use that particular water for car washing or gardening or any other purposes. So these kind of points should be there. Then about NDMA guidelines regarding urban flooding. So these kind of points you should have, because we cannot write any points by saying it is an NDMA guideline. We should study that thing and should reproduce. If you are having these particular NDMA guidelines for urban flooding, for earthquake mitigation, for cyclone warning, for glacial lake outburst and all, you can use that in every disaster related answers. So what are the NDMA guidelines for urban flooding? We should have an urban flood risk management plans. Okay, which are the areas that are prone to urban area like how many people are traveling, like inhabiting in that particular area. If there is a flood, what is the immediate step to be taken to rehabilitate the people or to evacuate the people from that particular area? This is one guideline. Then about early warning system. Okay, NDMA is telling about we should have rainfall monitoring system, we should have river water level gauges. Okay, if one particular river is exceeding its capacity, so we should have particular alarm for that. Then weather radars or satellite based rainfall estimation, then dissemination of timely warnings to the people so that people can be prepared. Then about automated weather stations. Okay, these weather stations will be having radars and satellite assistance. It will be collecting data on temperature, humidity, speed of wind and atmospheric pressure. Okay, it will help in cyclone warning, whether that rainfall will be excessive, monsoon prediction, everything will be done by automated weather station. Then about communication systems. Okay, if some particular disaster or urban flooding is predicted, how we should inform the people? Through SMS alert, mobile application, sirens, public announcements, community radio and all. So these kind of guidelines, if we are adhering to, we can mitigate the impact of urban flooding. So this is the kind of question that they are asking from Indian geography nowadays. Okay, other than the specific geomorphology related part, these kind of questions are on the higher side nowadays because of the impact of climate change and all. Now after that you can write a suitable conclusion by telling that okay, by integrating all these steps we can prevent or manage urban flooding and all.